Hey guys, welcome back for more, I guess we'll call it Project Schizoid for now, because I'm not particularly creative when it comes to titles. So a funny thing about this channel is that it's based around me being crazy and being bad at games. So using the schizophrenia mod in Project Zomboid fits that theme pretty perfectly. A couple of things first. Many of you pointed out those house alarms in the last video were likely hallucinations. When I went back over the footage, I can say it only seemed like one might have been real. The rest were likely fake. Thanks to everyone who let me know that in the comments, by the way. I didn't realize the trait could fake security alarms, but it does make sense. Also, I had mentioned in my last video that I was interested in a story about a schizophrenic in a zombie apocalypse, and a couple of you recommended I Am Hero. I just want to say thank you guys so much for that. The art is pretty amazing, and the storytelling intrigued me right from the start. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back to where we left off. My third survivor hiding out in an apartment complex above the Rosewood Zippy Mart. And if you're wondering, no, I did not last a week. One of the great things about this game is how there are some deaths you just can't get mad about. They're completely your fault, and had you exhibited just a little bit of foresight, perhaps you wouldn't have ended up a zombie. You might be wondering, how did I get here, right? Like how did I end up dead in Rosewood after a week? It really isn't that hard to get through it. I mean, I've done it before, right? But I also have died plenty of times in this game. And one of the biggest reasons why is because, well, I make really bad decisions. So, I got myself ready for the day, read some skill books, and caught up with the chat on woodcraft. Then I headed out to raid the town. And again, since I'm in Rosewood, I had a lot of confidence here. Honestly, I expected to do fine. But, welp. If you haven't guessed, I'm not good at this game, or really any games, but especially not this one. The second I got downstairs, I saw this guy guarding the door. He tried to eat me while another zombie was coming from behind, so I tried to lure them outside, and that resulted in me finding out there were way more zombies outside than I originally anticipated. Not a gigantic, unmanageable horde, but enough to make me a little nervous. They began flooding out of the nearby church and businesses, and I had a huge crowd following me. I spotted a large backpack that I really wanted, so I decided to try and take a few of these guys on, not considering that I was biting off way more than I could chew. Is that technically a zombie pun? Like, it's unintended, but I mean, technically? Anyway, I'd like to once again reiterate that I am not good at this game, hence why I use multi-hit and the enemy outlines. The enemy outlines help me identify good timing for attacks and pushes. And multi-hit just makes the shit easier, I'll be honest. After realizing I wasn't going to be able to mow down, this horde, I poorly implemented Plan B, which was to sneak up to my temporary base through the back doors. Remember this, because it will come back to haunt me later. I figured them getting compacted into the Zippy Mart would make looting easier. Basically getting rid of half the horde. We all know zombies are stupid and will hang around wherever you leave them for a while. It was kind of sad seeing the bride and groom in the window here, by the way. Like, damn, imagine the zombie apocalypse happening on your wedding day. It's kind of rude, right? But, shit happens. When I got back upstairs, I realized how loud the zombies beneath me were being. I even heard them break the door down. Did I bother considering the consequences of this? No. I went to bed. I woke up to some hallucinations, did some boring shit, then decided to get back to looting. I had noticed 2 survivor homes on the way to the Zippy Mart. One was a property on the church grounds, and the other was right across the street from there. All I had to do was lead the hordes away, then loot and run back up to my place. Easy enough. I started gathering up the zombies, taking a smoke break and noticing that my backpack had found its way back to me. I was excited and tried to get it, but was unsuccessful because I'm not good at the game. I turned back to the original plan after this. This was something I'd done before, so I knew the first phase, rounding the fuckers up and leading them away. That would be simple. It's the part where you have to deal with them later that would be an issue. However, I had a fix for that. See, I led them towards the end of the street and into a patch of trees, right next to a tall fence. I figured they'd be occupied down there for a while, allowing me to loot the whole area without having to deal with them at all. I really do think I'm clever, by the way. Like, I really do. And I'm not. I got them following me, then hopped the fence and found a friend desperate for a hug waiting on the other side. I don't know how I was able to dodge that, by the way. Like, I somehow just ran out of the way right on time. I just don't know what happened there. Like, I should have got bit. I found the bride wandering in the front of the church, so I dispatched her quickly, only to see a zombie mate of hers trying to pay his respects. This moment really fucked with me because it took me a second to realize what was happening. This was a hallucination. I was starting to understand how fake zombies acted, which would make my life a little bit easier. I reunited the bride and groom, then commenced the looting, not finding much other than a few wedding stragglers and some food. Another bogus zombie showed up, also paying his respects once more to the fallen, before disappearing and freaking my little guy the fuck out. This first survivor house was a disappointment, by the way, so I was super excited when I checked the next one and found a stash with a crowbar and an axe. A fake helicopter event hit, but I was starting to get used to ignoring the stuff, so I went about my business finding a football helmet upstairs, which I think offers the best head protection. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So you can see how I felt confident after this, right? Perhaps too confident. I noticed I was overburdened, so I made my way back to the apartment, and it really wasn't far away from where I was, so I figured it'd be easy in, easy out, then get back to looting, right? So here's some things to keep in mind. I have a bad memory, number one, okay? Number two, I think I'm clever when I'm clearly not. We already covered that. And three, I got confident because it's Rosewood. Plus I got a crowbar and a football helmet, and those were like two things I just love in this game. So, you know, a lot of overconfidence here. And four, I make really bad split decisions. After that, tragedy, I decided to try out the mod with a character in Louisville because I'm quite fond of torturing myself. When I'm in Louisville, I have to turn the population down to low because my laptop fucking sucks. That's a good thing though, because as previously shown, I am terrible at this game, so I'll take any advantages I can get. I've done the Louisville thing and actually have a current long game save in it. I've gotten the world to November, but I have lost 2 survivors. One in a very, very stupid way that I don't even want to talk about. I hopped over a banister and fell to my death, and it was just so stupid, but it's okay. It's okay. Right when I first loaded in, I awoke hearing the insane drone nightmare sounds. That lasted for a bit, keeping me on edge while I tried looting the other apartments in my safe building. Then I went out to get some work done. I had to clear the street and find a working vehicle so I could get on the road to the other side of the map. You see this strip of land right here? It's great for making a base. The houses are spacious, there are high fences around many of them, and there's a river for an unlimited supply of water and food. This is where I have my sanctuary set up in my long game save, by the way. Making all this noise to clear out the street was attracting zombies from nearby businesses and homes, and some zombies had found their way inside the complex I was hiding in. Another hallucinated zombie showed up and he parked himself right next to the car I was trying to commandeer. Here's something that kind of annoys me. You can be facing off with tons of zombies, taking down horde after horde, but see one hallucination and suddenly you drop your weapon and start screaming wildly. I don't know, it kind of strikes me as odd, but I suppose being shaken by something like that could cause you to panic. If you've ever played Signalis, maybe you remember that tall Storch unit? Well, after playing that game one day, I hallucinated in real life a distorted image of one of those things in my house, and I remember getting pretty panicked. However, I don't live in a world populated by zombies. A schizo in a zombie apocalypse should be a little more resistant, that's all I'm saying. Oh my god! Moving on, I got a slow-ass vehicle hotwired and proceeded to rile up the entire neighborhood by driving around making a shit ton of fucking noise. Thinking back on it, my motivation was to call them all out, then pick them off one by one and do some major looting before heading to what was to become my permanent base location. But then I forgot the plan in the middle of the joyride and decided, I guess this base is compromised, no clue how that could have happened, better get my shit and go. I'm just not good at this game, you guys. After grabbing a bite to eat, I started packing up my belongings and a zombie appeared in my kitchen. Of course, it was hallucinated. It was interesting to see how the hallucination zombies act. They just stand there. Occasionally they will come at you, but it is strange to see that they aren't so scary once you identify them to be something in your head. This holds true for me in the real world. Once I start to recognize something as a hallucination, it can lose its power over me. Visual and auditory hallucinations aren't my biggest problem. The delusional thinking is, which was much more prominent when I wasn't taking care of myself, by the way. And just for the record, I am doing well and have been for a long time and rarely experience extreme interruptive psychosis episodes. In my experience, the older you get and the longer you deal with this, the more you get therapy, take meds that are a good fit for you, and deal with your personal traumas, the better life you can live and deal with such a devastating illness like schizophrenia. You may never be normal or like everyone else, but that's okay. You're healthy, and that's what matters. So anyway, I hated how slow this car was. I knew generally where I was going, but I did happen to pull into a dead end, and well, that could have been bad, and it was kind of nerve-wracking, but I made it out alive. I finally got into the neighborhood and didn't think about it, but I had been tired for a while. It was pretty stupid to pack up and leave before catching some Z's, but remember those things I listed earlier about, just general gaming sense that I lack, right? Add unobservant to it, okay? I pull up to a house with a gate. I got out of my car and a fake jump scare happened, which freaked me the fuck out, by the way. I ran to the house, and this is when I noticed I was tired as hell. The moodle was all red. Getting into the house failed, and I was now being tailed by a large horde, and this is why you leave the car running, by the way. If that shit doesn't start in a high-pressure situation, you could be shit out of luck. I got to the house I wanted to make my base, but of course my vehicle was quite loud, calling a bunch of them over to me. I ended up having to fight a few, hop some fences, and run around to lose them, but eventually I found safety. Good thing too, because at this point I was both fatigued and tired, something that greatly reduces the damage you can deal in combat. Had I tried to take on any more zombies, I likely wouldn't have made it. I put my things away and went to bed, which, given the state I was in, it makes sense that I woke up to more, crazy hallucinations. There was even freaky whispering that took place during the speed up, a machine gun that sounded way too loud to be just a regular meta event, and the sound of a zombie banging on a door. It was kind of like a horror movie, man. I really couldn't identify if there was a zombie banging on a door somewhere or not. When it abruptly stopped, I assumed it was a hallucination, but I still had to wonder if there would be a zombie waiting downstairs for me. The heavy breathing and panic does help identify hallucinations, but it doesn't change the fear level when you hear a zombie breaking in while you're asleep. Notice the window breaking, the panic moodle, and the breathing. These are good ways to identify them, but I am not sure if they happen during every hallucination. I'll have to do more testing. Using this mod has resulted in me finding some pretty scary shit it incorporates. This mod can be weirdly accurate at times, and it's a bit unsettling, I'm not gonna lie. For instance, someone recently posted what is actually being said during this backwards gibberish, and I believe "the end is near" is one of the phrases. I will be quite honest, I've heard whispers that talk about the end of the world and other crazy shit, right? Hearing gibberish or what seems like backward talk has also happened to me before. So I was kind of blown back when I heard this. Now, take a listen to this growling mixed with voices. It's pretty terrifying, right? This reminded me of garbled sounds I've heard before and how some auditory hallucinations, at least for me, mix in common noises around me with foreign, unrecognizable elements. It's difficult to explain a sound you've never heard or didn't really hear when there is nothing in the real world to compare it to, so I won't begin to try. But imagine hearing a strange, foreign sound alongside things you're used to hearing all the time, like text alerts or car alarms. These hallucinations are like a dissonant orchestra played between reality and the imaginary. Some things you recognize and others you don't. The clash can leave you reeling. In Zomboid, a schizophrenic survivor is used to hearing zombies. It makes sense that sound would find its way into their hallucinations. Same with broken windows and the sound of doors breaking down. I also noticed how quickly survivors with schizophrenia get depressed. I found this chuckle-worthy because I am diagnosed with schizoaffective depression, quite literally a combination between schizophrenic symptoms and major depressive disorder. If you want to hear more about that, I have a few videos of me talking about it, but I warn you, they're really bad quality and kind of boring. Anyway, I treat Project Zomboid more like a Sims game than a survival game, especially since so much of my gameplay and my long-term save is fishing, reading, building, preparing meals. It's rare for me to encounter zombies unless I go hunting them because I wipe most of them in my area out. After my last survivor in that save died, adding the next one in with the schizophrenic trait changed the whole dynamic. That's why I love this mod and will likely keep using it for a long time to come. I thoroughly enjoy how it shakes up gameplay. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Zomboid and random video gaming / crazy person content. See you next time!